This is the final thing I'm going to talk about in our lesson, which is the powers. And this lesson will be included in our quiz on Friday. So on Friday, we have a math quiz in this lesson. The final thing I'm going to talk about in this lesson is expanding a decimal number according to powers.
Hi, Miss. Sorry I'm late. I didn't have internet.
No problem. Who's this?
Lamar Shab.
Lamar Shahab. Okay.
Hi, Miss. أنا
Hi.
علي الشغري.
Ali Shori, I have taken your name. Okay.
Okay.
So I have Lamar. Asil attended now also. Please, those who attend while I'm talking, just tell me, okay?
Miss, me too.
I took your name.
Miss me. Okay.
Miss, you took my name.
Who's this? Gadi, yes, I have written your
Gadi.
name. Yes, I have written your name, Gadi, yes.
Miss, did you take my name?
What about me?
Salman, I will say the names written, okay? Stop. So I have written Samia, Hassan Zainuddin, Ali Shugri, Lamar Sufan, Lamar Sharafuddin, Abdullah, Daniel, Hassan Bawab, Angelina, Hassan Fuani, Lana, Maryam, Marwa, Hadi, Ali Skaiki, Julia, Rama, Gadi, Lamar Shahab, Asil, Adam Kondakji, and Salman. Did I miss any? Karim, I have written your name, Karim Haji. Karim, already I have written your name.
Yes, Miss. I'm here.
Yes, I have written your name, Karim, don't worry. So, as I was saying, the final thing I'll talk about in this lesson, which is the powers, expanding a decimal number according to powers of 10 and 1 over 10. Of course, we know what is a decimal number. It is a number with a point. And we will learn how to expand or develop any decimal number or how to write it in expanded form using powers of 10 and 1 over 10. First, I will remind you of a decimal number. In a decimal number, of course, we have a point. This is the point. To the left of the point, we have always the whole part. To the right of the point, we have the decimal part. If I started in the whole part, always near the point, the first digit is the ones digit, then I have the tens digit, then I have the hundreds digit, etc. When I start in the right part, which is the decimal part, I start from near the point always. Near the point, the first digit is tenth, the second digit is hundredth, the third digit is thousandths. So please, what I have written here about a decimal number, you should know and you should memorize how can we write a decimal number. So a decimal number has a point, a whole part to the left, a decimal part to the right. Always when I start expanding, I will start with the whole part first. Keep this in mind. We start with the whole part from near the point. So if this is the point, if this is the point, the first digit in the whole part is always the ones. Then I move to the tens, then I move to the hundreds. In the decimal part also, if I start from near the point, I have tenth, I have hundredth, I have thousandth, etc. So to expand a decimal number according to 10 and 1 over 10 is what? Is to multiply each digit according to its unit. So we always multiply each digit. I mean, we multiply the digit in the ones according to its unit. Now I will tell you by what I multiply the ones. And also I multiply the digit in the tens according to its unit. I multiply the digit in the hundreds according to its unit. Always, as I said, to start expanding, we start from the whole part first. I finish all the whole part, then I move to the decimal part. So what do we multiply? always the digit in the ones, I multiply it by 10 to the power 0, because the ones means 1. So how do we express 1 as a power of 10? It is 10 to the power 0. So the digit in the ones, I multiply it by 10 to the power 0. The digit in the tens, I multiply it by 10 to the power 1. The digit in the hundreds, I multiply it by 10 to the power 2. When I finish, I move to the decimal part. In the decimal part, the digit in the tenth, I should write it as a fraction, as a decimal fraction. How do we write it? We write what we have in the tenth over 10, what we have in the hundredth over 10 squared, what we have in the thousandth over 10 cubed. So please, these should be memorized to know how to expand a decimal number. Now I will solve with you 4 examples on what I said now. The first decimal number is 25.8. I should start expanding. As I said, starting from the whole part. Who is the whole part? Always again, the whole part is everything to the left of the point. So if this is the point, to the left we have 25. From where do I start? From the ones. So 5, I multiply it by 10 to the power 0. When I finish, before moving to the tens, I write plus. In the tens, I have 2. 2, I multiply it by 10 to the power 1. So 5, I multiply it by 10 to the power 0 always because it's in the ones. 2 is multiplied by 10 to the power 1 because it's in the tens. Now, I move to the decimal part. In the decimal part, the first digit is 8. What is the unit of 8? 8 is tenth. So I write 8 over 10. So this is how we expand the first number. Now the second number, also I start with the whole part in the left from the 8. 8 is in the ones, so 8 times 10 to the power 0. 1 is in the tens, so 1 times 10 to the power 1. 6 is in the hundreds, so 6 times 10 to the power 2, plus. Now I move to the decimal part. 7 is tenth, always the tenth, I write it over 10, so 7 over 10, plus. 2 is in the hundredth, so I write it 2 over 10 squared because the hundredth is 10 squared. Now for 103.009, always I start from the whole part to the left. The first digit is a 3 in the ones, so 3 times 10 to the power 0. I move to the tens, I have 0. You should not write 0 times 10 to the power 1. You can skip the 0 in the tens and directly move to the 4 in the hundreds. So 4 times 10 squared. Now I move to the decimal part. It's not necessary to write 0 over 10, 0 over 100, sorry. So it's not necessary to write 0 over 10, 0 over 100. No, because the 0 is not necessary to write it. So we simply write 9 is in the thousandth, and the thousandth we write it over 10 cube. So directly the digit in the thousandths, I write it 9 over 10 cube. 0.305. In the whole part, I have 0. So it's not necessary to write 0 times 10 to the power 0 because 0 is not necessary to write it. I directly move to the decimal part. I have 3 in the tenth, 3 over 10. I have 0 in the hundredth, no need to write it. I have 5 in the thousandth, so I write 5 over 10 cube. This is how we multiply. So to know how to multiply, we should memorize these. The ones, we multiply it by 10 to the power 0. The tens, we multiply it by 10 to the power 1. The hundreds, we multiply it by 10 squared, etc. The tenth, the digit in the tenth, we write it over 10. Whatever we have in the tenth, we write it over 10. In the hundredth, we write it over 10 squared until we finish. So this is how we expand a decimal number according to powers of 10 and 1 over 10. Who attended now? I have Maya Nuruddin, who also, while I was talking, I have Lilia, I have Hala Salman. Who else? Okay, so these who attended now. So this is how we expand a decimal number. Now I want to share the worksheet solution to solve the exercises with you before our quiz on Friday. Guys, are you still with me? Everything is okay?
Yes,
Yes,
miss.
miss.
Yes, miss.
Okay, if you have any question, just raise your hands, okay? So now we are solving the worksheet that I sent on the app this week. You have a worksheet. It is worksheet 3 in the lesson powers. We will start solving exercises to practice more and for things to become easier. Now, in exercise number 1, the question is, I want Lamar Sharafuddin to read the question. Exercise number 1, Lamar, yes.
Yes, miss.
Read the question, Lamar, number 1.
Write the following in powers form.
We know the powers form, Lamar, which is a base and an exponent, a to the power n, right?
Yes.
Okay, let us start with the first multiplication sentence, Lamar. We have 3 times 3 times 3 times 3 times 3 times 3. How do we write it in power form, Lamar? What do we write?
It's repeated 6 times.
So we write 3 to the power
10. I mean 6.
Yes, so we write, this is the power form, Lamar. So we write 3 to the power 6. Is it okay?
Yes.
Okay, thank you, Lamar. Now I move to Abdullah. Yes, Abdullah? Abdullah?
Yes, miss.
Abdullah, the second multiplication sentence we have. Please don't raise your hands to answer. I will pick you all. Please lower your hands if you want to answer, but raise your hand if you have a question only. Yes, Abdullah. We have 9 times 9 times 9 times 9. This is a repeated multiplication sentence. I should write it in power form. What is the number repeated, Abdullah?
4.
What is the number repeated? Which number are we repeating, Abdullah? Which number?
Miss, can I say it?
Abdullah. Abdullah, this is the number. Read this number, please. What's this number?
9.
So the number repeated
9.
is 9. How many times is it repeated? Count, Abdullah. How many times is it repeated? 1, 2, 3, 4. So what do we write? Who knows? What do we write?
9 power the power of 4.
Yes, so we write 9 to the power 4. Thank you. Now I move to Lamar Sufan. Yes, Lamar?
Yes, miss.
Please, Lamar. You have 5 times 5 times 5 times 5 times 5 times 5 times 5. What is the number repeated, Lamar?
5.
How many times?
7. So it's
what?
5 power 7.
Yes, so we write 5 to the power 7. Thank you, Lamar. I need Hassan Bawab. Hassan Bawab.
Yes.
You have 2 times 2 times 2. What is the number repeated?
2.
How many times is it repeated?
3.
So what do we write?
2 to the power 3.
Well done, Hassan. 2 to the power 3. Thank you. Now I move to Rama. Yes, Rama.
Miss.
You
Yes,
have
miss.
10 times 10. How do we write it in power form?
10 squared.
Yes, 10 squared or 10 to the power 2. Thank you, Rama. Now I move to Mariam. Mariam,
Okay.
4 times 4 times 4 times 4. Write it in power form, please.
4 to the power 4.
4 to the power 4. Thank you, Mariam. So this is how we write any number in power form. Any question about this, guys?
No.
No.
Okay, let me move directly to the second question. In the second question, I want to ask Ghadi. Ghadi, are you here? Ghadi? Adam and Daji? Adam?
Yes, can I?
Yes, miss. Yes, miss.
Adam, who's saying yes, miss? Adam or Ghadi?
Gadi, sorry, miss. Sorry.
Okay, Ghadi, don't worry. Read number 2, Ghadi, please. How can
we read the following?
we just want to read Ghadi?
8,
Yes?
8 power,
You're lagging, Ghadi.
8 power seconds.
Yes, so the first one, we read it 8 to the power 6. The second one, Lana. Yes, Lana.
Yes, miss.
This one, how do we read it? The second one.
7 to the power 2.
What do we say about the power 2, Lana? How do we read a power 2?
Squared.
Yes, sorry. Read the second one down, Lana. 5 and 5. How do we read this one?
5 to the power 5.
Thank you, Lana. 5 to the power 5. Now I want Tala. Yes, Tala? Tala?
Yes, miss.
The
4
last
to the
one.
power squared.
We don't say 4 to the power squared. Directly, Tala, we
Yes,
say
miss.
4. Tala, directly, we say 4 squared, okay? Tala, okay? Now I move to Adam and Daji. Adam?
Yes, miss.
This one, 7 and 2. How do we read it?
7 squared.
Thank you, Adam. 7 squared. I move now to Maya. Yes, Maya. Maya?
Yes, miss.
10 and 3. How do we read it?
10 to the power of 3.
If the power is the 3, how do we read the power 3? 10, directly, 10.
10 to the power 3.
No. Samia, how do we read this?
Yes, miss.
How do we read 10 to the power 3 in another way?
Miss, can I?
10 to the power of 3. As like a multiplication sentence.
No,
Can
here
I?
I'm reading, Samia. I'm
can
not
I say
writing
it?
multiplication sentence, but I said
Miss,
there
can
are
I
two. Listen,
Oh, it's 10 cubed.
Guys, listen. 10 cubed, yes, because when the exponent is a 3, I read it 10 cubed. Yes, thank you. Another, I want to ask Salman. Yes, Salman. Salman?
Miss,
Salman?
can I?
Press can I على السكايكي?
Alice Kaiki, how do we read the last one?
It's 3 cubed.
3 cubed. So the last one, we read it 3 cubed. Please always remember, when the exponent is 2, we read it squared. When the exponent is a 3, we read it cubed. Another question. Exercise number 3, I want in Lamar Shahab.
Yes, miss.
Please read exercise number 3, Lamar. Number 3.
Okay. Define powers of 10.
Can you define powers of 10, Lamar? What are powers of 10? What do they have?
They have the same
Hassan Zainuddin, can you define powers of 10?
Miss, can I say it?
Hassan Zainuddin, what are powers of 10?
Miss, they
Miss,
are
they have the same base.
no.
Hassan Zainuddin,
Yes, Miss, powers of 10 are powers that have base 10 and exponents.
only this, Hassan, only this. So powers of 10, Lamar, they don't only have same base, they have a base 10. Okay, so this is the definition of powers of 10. Powers of 10 have a base 10. Are you still with me, Lamar?
Yes, miss.
Okay, now we should write as powers of 10. You have the first number, you should write it as powers of 10. To write a power of 10, what should be the base always, Lamar?
Base 10.
Okay, the base is 10. To know the exponents, we count all the zeros near the 1. Please, can you count these zeros, Lamar?
Yes.
How many zeros do we have?
30, Miss, but my net went
9.
off.
Let me count. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, Lamar. So how many zeros do we have?
8.
So it is 10 to the power 8. Okay, Lamar? This is
8.
how we write
Yes.
a number as a power of 10. Thank you, Lamar. I move now to Karim. Yes, Karim. I will pick you all, I swear. Don't say can I. Karim?
Yes, Miss.
Now we have 10, Karim. We should write it as a power of 10. What should be the base?
The base should be 10.
What is the exponent? How many zeros do you have in the 10?
How many? 1.
So it is 10 to the power what?
10 to the power 1.
Thank you, Karim. I move to Asil. Yes, Asil? Guys, mute. Asil? Angelina?
Yes, Miss.
Angelina, we have 1,000. I should write it as a power of 10. What should be the base?
The base should be 10.
Well, the exponent is how many zeros?
3.
So 10 to the power 3. Thank you, Angelina. I move to Julia. Yes,
Welcome.
Julia.
Yes.
Julia?
Yes.
Now we have
Yes.
1. I should write it as a power of 10. Always, what should be the base?
The base of it's 0.
Julia, always to write any number as a power of 10, please look at the definition. The base should be 10. What should be the base?
10.
And the exponent, how many zeros do we have near the 1?
0.
So it is 10 to the power 0. Thank you, Julia. I move to Danielle. Yes, Danielle.
Yes, Miss.
We have this number here. You see this first number?
Yes, Miss.
We should write it as a power of 10. So what should be the base?
10.
How many zeros do we have in this number? Can you count the zeros, please?
Yes, Miss.
Count them.
There's 9 zeros.
So it is 10 to the power 9. Thank you. I move to Ali Shugri. Yes, Ali Shugri.
Yes, Miss.
We have this number, Ali Shugri. We should write it as a power of 10. So what should be the base? Ali Shugri, to write such numbers as powers of 10, always the base should be 10. If you look here, the base is 10, the base is 10, the base is 10. Always my base should be 10. That's why I call them powers of 10, because their base is 10. So it is 10
It's
to the
10 to
power
the power
6. Thank you,
6.
Ali. Yes, it's 10 to the power 6. I move to Maryam. Maryam,
Okay.
we have 10,000s. How do we write the number 10,000s? 1 and how many zeros?
10. I mean 3.
The 1,000 has 3 zeros. The 10,000s, how many zeros does it have?
4.
Yes, so it is 10 and it is 1 and 4 zeros. Write this please as a power of 10. What should be the base?
The base should be 10.
How many zeros do we have? What should be the exponent?
4.
So it is 10 to the power 4. Thank you. Now we move to exercise number 4 again with Lilia. Did I ask you, Lilia? Lilia,
Can I solve?
who's this?
Zainuddin.
Okay, I want to ask Hala Salman. I didn't ask Hala. Hala, are you here? Hala? Hala Salman? Hassan Zainuddin, can you start?
Yes.
Read number
2
4,
to the
Hassan.
power.
Please read number
2.
4.
Oh, calculate the powers.
Let me talk a little bit about this question, Hassan. When we are asked to calculate powers, we should write them first as repeated multiplication sentence, then we get the answer. So you have the first one, Hassan, 2 to the power 5. What is the repeated multiplication sentence?
It is 2 times 2 times 2 times 2.
5 times, right?
Yes.
Now let's calculate the answer. 2 times 2
4
times 2
8
times 2
16
times 2.
32.
So the answer is 32. Thank you, Hassan. Now I move to Hadi. Yes, Hadi. Hadi,
Miss, I have a question.
who's this?
Lamar Safan.
Yes, Lamar, what's your question? Hurry up.
In this exercise, calculate the powers. The last two, I don't understand. I don't understand them.
Okay, when we go down, I will discuss them, okay?
Okay, Miss.
Answer me now, Lamar Sufan. 8 squared, how we write it as a multiplication sentence?
8 times 8.
What's the answer?
Miss, just give me 1 minute.
1 minute is too much. 8 times 8 is, you should study the multiplication tables, guys. What is 8 times 8?
Miss, 64.
64, thank you. Now we have 4 squared. Hassan Fouane,
Yes, miss.
4 squared, write it as a multiplication sentence, please.
4 times 4, sorry.
What's 4 times 4?
16.
16, thank you. I go back to Karim. Karim? Karim? Karim?
Miss, can
I go back to,
Can I?
who's this Kanai?
Ali Awada.
Yes, Ali. Ali, you entered now?
Yes.
Okay.
In 15 minutes.
Okay, Ali Awada, we have 100 squared. Write it as a repeated multiplication sentence, please. Hurry up. Ali Awada.
100 times 100.
Bravo, 100 times 100. If we multiply, we get 10,000. Thank you. Now I move to Lamar Sharafuddin.
Yes, Miss.
30 cube. Write it as a repeated multiplication sentence.
30 times 30. We write it 3 times.
Yes, 30 times 30 times 30. We multiply 3 times 3 is 9, times 3 is 27. And how many zeros do we have?
3.
So 27 and 3 zeros. Here, Lamar Sufan, we have 0 to the power 199. Yesterday, I said when the base is 0, it's no use to write 0 times 0 times 0 times 0. It's no use to write a repeated multiplication sentence as if I am multiplying 0 by itself 199 times. Directly, it gives me 0. Directly, I write the answer. So when the base is 0, directly I write the answer 0. Also, whenever the base is 1 to the power 77, no use to write 1 times 1 times 1 times 1 times 1 77 times. I directly write the answer 1. So this only applies to base 0 and base 1. Got them, Namar, now?
Yes, Miss, but
Okay.
the last one, it's 50 power 2.
50
50
power
times
2,
50.
it's very easy. This is not a power of 10, so I should write it as a repeated multiplication sentence. The base is 50, so I multiply 50 by itself 2 times. So I simply write 50 times 50. 5 times 5 is 25, and I add 2 zeros. That's it, Lamar, okay?
Okay, thank you.
Now let's move to question number 5. Question number 5, we should complete this table. We have solved such an exercise before. The first one, I want to ask Samia. Yes, Samia. Samia?
Yes, Miss.
2 to the power 4. What's the base?
2,
Exponent?
4,
Write it as a multiplication sentence, please.
2 times 2 times 2 times 2.
The answer is?
The answer is 16.
16. Thank you. Ghadi, yes.
Yes, Miss.
We have the base 5, the exponent 3. What should be the power form?
5 to the power 3.
Or 5 cubed, right?
Sorry, Miss.
Okay,
5
write
cubed.
it, Ghadi, as a multiplication sentence, please.
Okay, Miss. 5 times 5 times 5. 3
Well
times.
done. The answer is?
The answer is 125.
Done, 125. Now I know the multiplication sentence. First, I should write it in power form. I want to ask, please, again, Lana. Yes, Lana? Lana? Asil? Asil?
Yes, Miss.
This is whom? Asil or Lana?
Lana.
Lana, you have 10 times 10 times 10 times 10 times 10. We should write it in power form. What is the base?
10 of the power 5.
Bravo, 10 to the power 5. What's the base?
10.
The exponent?
5.
The answer is, if I multiply, I will write 1 and 5 zeros. Thank you, Lana. Now the answer is 27. Hassan Zainuddin.
Yes, Miss.
The answer is 27. What is the power form?
Miss, I think
7.
you're going to end.
Yes?
Wait, I'm trying to.
You ask yourself,
7.
Hassan, which number I multiply it by itself many times and gives me 27? Yes, Ghadi? Yes, Ghadi? قطعت الكهرباء واجت. مش هذا صح؟ يعني معقولة أنا عم بعمل صفي قليل؟ ما مش طبيعية أنت ماما، مش طبيعية.